What's going on, everybody? Mr. 560 here, 560 Gaming. I'm just going to jump right into it, man. You guys keep talking about this boycott stuff, this boycott, boycott, boycott. Let me tell you something. There's one thing I learned from the ultimate situation is that y'all really didn't boycott. Y'all didn't do it right, okay? Y'all didn't do it properly, okay? And I'm going to tell you why it wasn't done properly last time. It was done enough to the point where people got the changes, okay, that they wanted, okay, but it was just enough to appease you. And people came right back to where we started from. But you didn't teach Netmarble a lesson. You didn't teach them a lesson the last time this quote unquote boycott thing happened. And if you need a refresher, because I put in one of the Marvel Future Fight groups on Facebook, I think the largest one has like 58,000 players in there. The last time what I said was a lot of you people screaming boycott are the ones who screamed boycott when the Ultimates came out, and you're still here. All right. Now I know the Ultimates thing was like 2 years ago, but my point was this: people get upset about what's going to happen in this game and about what happens in this game, and they want to scream boycott when it affects certain type of players. The Ultimates thing, the thing that happened was there was this loot box in which that you may or may not get an Ultimates character out of the loot box, and you could be spending tons of money just shelling out for crystals in order to take this spin in this loot box that may or may not get you a character. Now when it first came out, I made a little 2-minute video with the slot machine sound effects from Super Mario Brothers 2. When people would roll those slot machines to try to get like stars and things like that, and then they had something where you actually got someone, and then when you didn't get somebody, this, that, and the other. I got one of the Ultimates out of there, but I didn't get, and he was pretty much one of the easiest ones to get. It was Anti-Man, but I didn't get Nova, which is the one that everybody wanted to get because he was the one people were going to use in Timeline Battle. The whales weren't really affected, okay? You had people like Cynic Alex on YouTube talking about boycotting Netmarble back then because of loot box situation. He'd had it. His mindset was thinking further into the future, because if this is allowed, then they'll bring other characters in, and then that would put a serious strain on the game. Okay, so he was thinking further along in the future, right? Which is how he should have been thinking about, right? But it didn't go too much further because everybody just wanted to get rid of the loot boxes and just, have a different way for people to, you know, acquire these characters. All right. Before they got rid of the loot boxes, they gave everybody like free crystals, okay, that you could use to try out the loot boxes to see if you would get the characters. I used the crystals for the most part in the loot box, right? A lot of people use the crystals for whatever else they wanted to. That's what they were allowed to do. Okay, so I understood what the boycott was supposed to happen, but what really happened and what really made the changes in Netmarble was the fact that people were doing a lot of complaining, a lot of bitching and moaning about it, which is fine, which what you're supposed to do. They threatened a boycott, okay, en masse, but no one did it en masse. Several hundred players here and there, da da da. A lot of the whales didn't do it because the whales could sit back. The amount of crystals that you were going to use in order to get those characters, the whale players, the people who were dropping tons of money into the game could have done it with no problem, and they were doing it because not even a week after those characters came out, before they made the change to the loot box system, which took about 2 weeks. Now I'm talking about this stuff off the top of my head because I still remember it fresh in my mind. It took about 2 weeks before they put out a patch and changed the loot box system. But within that 2 weeks time, I was seeing people with completely tier 2 ultimate characters in timeline battle doing their thing, especially Nova. Nova was the big thing. Everybody wanted Nova because at the time he was one of those great timeline characters that you could have used. Now Nova is not one of those great timeline characters. Okay, if anything, he's on the C team. He went from the A team to the B team. Now he's like the C team. Maybe not even that. It would take a serious ban of characters for a certain week of timeline battle in order for someone to want to pull Nova back out again and use him. Okay, he's just like one of those little, maybe he's an ace in the hole, given that you could give him certain upgrades and things like that. But to go back to what I was saying is that people weren't actually boycotting the game. They complained to Marvel, they complained to Netmarble, they threatened to boycott. Okay, within 2 weeks, Netmarble created a patch, got rid of the loot boxes. Another thing was happening around that time. Okay, and if you were paying attention to gaming news, you would have known then that EA was getting shit for having the loot boxes in the game. I think Star Wars Battlefront or whatever it was called. They were getting shit for having loot boxes in those games where they were putting exclusive characters behind that little loot box paywall, and the like win rate for someone to actually get those characters was abysmally low. And basically you had to pay cash in order to spin or get an RNG version of the loot box. Okay, and it got to the point where governors, like political figures, got involved because they were pretty much creating underage gambling into their system. There were other games that were going through that as well, and they had to put out laws and refute that kind of stuff. So Netmarble wasn't just getting flack from our community, around it, but they were seeing the heat from politicians and stuff too, kind of like on the upside, like on the backside of it. Okay, they didn't want to catch that flack, which is why you've never seen loot boxes of that sort come back into the game. They still have loot boxes, but they're not like where characters that anybody should be able to acquire are come back there. Even if someone gets any of the ultimates now, they still have to contend with the fact that there's still no real way to farm the bios for these characters and build them up, unless of course you're using you can't even use, if I'm not mistaken, you still can't even use the paywall, the subscription things for those characters. But you can spend the you could go to the processor, and you could try to get the characters from there, get their bios from out of there, which takes abysmally long. It takes forever to do it that way. Or now they have packages out that they come out with, and they'll take away and they'll bring it back out, where you could pay like 50 bucks, anywhere between I think like 10 or 40 or something like that, like hard cash, to get these characters and get like so many bios for them to try to rank them up and get them at tier 2. If you have other means of doing it, such as since they're not native tier 2 characters, you have other means of doing it to where you could use rank up tickets and mega tier 2 joint tickets. How often do people get those things, right? So in a sense, we stopped Netmarble from creating the loot box fiasco again, but it didn't stop them from their predatory practices when it comes to people's pockets. Say that like 5 times fast. And the main thing is, I blame the whales, man. When they bring out a package that is affordable for these guys and they shelling out all this money, these guys have no problem paying that. Netmarble thinks, okay, well, these guys are going to pay for it. We're just going to keep putting it out, right? We're just going to keep doing it. So to me, the ultimate thing wasn't even a boycott. It was just, people put out negative reviews. Okay, people put out negative ratings, which other players would see, and it keeps them from seeing that. Some other players didn't, new players and people who had money or didn't have money, they would just sit back and say, "Nah, I don't want to get involved with it." Da da da. But within the next months, by the time the next update came, the ratings went back up significantly. They went up from, the game had a 5-star rating for about 3 years, and then went down to damn near a 1-star rating because of the Ultimates loot box thing. And then within a month, they went back up to about 5 stars. That's not a boycott. Okay, that is not a boycott. That was never a boycott. I don't care what you guys say, how you feel about it. You don't know what boycotting is. All right. And one of the people in the post that I made, they said maybe you should look up the word boycott, like the definition or the meaning of the word boycott. Maybe you should look up the word boycott. How about I show you guys what the actual word boycott is, what it means. How about you check this out? Boycott. It's a transitive verb. To abstain from or act together and abstaining from using, buying, dealing with, or participating in as an expression of protest or disfavor or as a means of coercion. The act or instance of boycotting. And then an organized attempt to coerce a person or party into compliance with some demand by combining to abstain and compel others to abstain from having any business or social relations with him or it, and organized persecution of person or company as a means of coercion or intimidation or of retaliation for some act or refusal and to act in a particular way. That did not happen with the Ultimates update. Complaining about it didn't happen. The reason why I can tell you it didn't happen is because if within a month's time, within less than a month's time, the ratings can go from 1 or 2 stars or 1.5 stars back up to 5 stars, and people start giving back more positive reviews saying thank you for getting rid of the loot boxes and stuff like that, you missed the whole point of a boycott. How many other concerns should people be addressed with when it comes to this game? Okay, no one put the screws to Netmarble. No one, we did not put the screws to Netmarble. We did not put the pressure on Netmarble. We put a little bit of pressure. We put a slight amount of pressure on them. We did not make them feel it in their pockets. Do you know why? Because they turned around and within the next 2 years, within the past 2 years, they've come out with uh, packages upon packages that you have to pay for this, that, and the other. They've got they came out with the CTPs. They got these CTPs now that you have that when you use those loot boxes for the CTPs, the drop rates aren't that great. And then every so often what they'll say is, oh, you got a chance up for a CTP. No, get the fuck out of here with that. Oh, that's only going to work for the whales. Okay, that's only going to work for the whales. That only works for them. So these guys decide that they're going to keep bringing out all these little packages. Look at the Shield support package. Such a piece of crap. All right. $15 you pay for a 2 week, no, $10 you pay for a 2 week package. All right. That gives you some support and extra slots in your inventory. But after 2 weeks, you get nothing else and you have to give back the slots for your inventory. What kind of shit is that? What if you had paid for the subscription package and they told you you had to give back the rest of the BIOS you didn't use for your characters, right? You already know that if you don't use those BIOS, you're going to pretty much lose them. They don't carry over until the next month. You don't get an actual 30 days. You get a month of subscription and you have 30 days to use it. And every day that you use it, you get the 20 BIOS, right? That's not really a predatory practice in some sense because, hey, it's just like any other subscription package. But what if the BIOS that you did have, that you did stack up in the character, if you did not use those BIOS, you had to give them back, right? Even if you selected the character, put the BIOS in them, you had to give them back. Wouldn't that be some shit? It's the same thing with the damn inventory. Why am I paying you $10 extra for another 300 slots of inventory, which is actually, if you think about it, it's a great deal, only for me to have to give those 300 slots back at the end of the 15 days. Look at a lot of the other packages they bring in, a lot of the other stuff they bring in, stuff that's like 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 packages. I get it. Those are packages meant for the whales. Some people would save their money and be able to get those as well, right? But look at the other packages they bring out. The little teeny tiny $1, $2 packages, they bring those out. They're not much to them. They don't give you, and they give you, what they do is they draw you into these $2, $3 packages with the promise or the chance that you might get yourself a 6-star mega rank up ticket or a mega tier 2 ticket or something like that. But when you look at the actual drop rates for that shit, it's so abysmally low. Look at what they did with the boost points. Okay, the boost points used to be great. Okay, they were even better when you actually purchased over 1,000 boost points. Even more so if you had the package and you had over 1,000. You know what I mean? They had great drop rates for that. Then, like, I guess about 6 to 8 months later, they changed the drop rates. Now when you get them and you get up to 2,000 boost points, your drop rates are so horribly low. You don't get that much out of them. I stopped buying the boost packages like that. I used to do the monthly subscription for them because they gave you the promise of you getting some guaranteed stuff dropping. I don't do that no more. And every so often I'll get the boost points because I know I'll get maybe a 4-star rank up ticket, 3-star rank up ticket, or not rank up ticket, yeah, 4-star, 3-star rank up ticket. I may get they drop a decent amount of uniform tickets, you know what I mean, like here and there, but they're all still low. They're not like 6-star, they're not like megas or anything like that. You know what I mean? And it costs you a fair amount of crystals to get that stuff. To me, in my mind, with all the things that I've seen that Netmarble is doing with this game, okay, they haven't learned their lesson that much. To me, what they did was they saw what happened with the Ultimates, made the changes, appeased players, gave them a little bit of crystals, whatever. People shut up about it, went back to their daily lives, and in the process, Netmarbles decided that they were going to create other little ways and packages and things to do to make money. Look at how they changed the World Balls Ultimate. Okay, look at how they changed all of that. Okay, with the tier 3 system and stuff like that. All right. When you go in there and you got characters you're trying to build up and rank up and stuff, those drop rates for the lower, they're so hard. People have a hard time because so many characters they want to build up and create and stuff like that, bios upon bios and things like that. I think that Netmarble still has plenty of predatory practices in there. They don't always have to have the money and dollar sign on them, but when you look at what you need to do to get your characters and people the way you want to get them so that you can actually compete, it all leads back to money. That's what it does. It all leads back to money. They're going to continuously find ways to hit you in your pocket when they do something that you automatically can like detect and see, like what they're doing with these with this next update. When you can see that on the surface, that's their signal, their clue to them that says, hey, they noticed this. Okay, we try to position it as this such a great thing when they really didn't need to do that. The way that they're positioning that in this next update with the CTP reforging and the premium card upgrades stuff, the way they're positioning this stuff, it's not helping anything. It's the way they're positioning stuff. It just makes you think. They think for some reason, oh, this is going to be great. It's just adding more and more, throwing more and more useless code into the system. Okay, it's meant to really create a larger divide between the paid player base and the people who don't pay. That's what it's really meant to do. Because a lot of paid players, they want more for their money. They're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars in this game. They want more for their money. But Netmarble is not going to give you more for your money. They're going to make you pay for it with the mindset and the idea that makes you think you're going to get more for your money. But when the whales notice this and they see that they know the economy of the game, they know the financial system of the game, they know the money market of this game, they realize when certain things going to happen that they're going to be like, okay, I know this is going to cost me too much money. I'm not going to do it. Now the whales are screaming boycott because now they know this is going to affect their pockets a whole lot more than they have been because they still want to be they compete for the top, but they do it with their money. So when you start messing with their money so you can pull more from them, because Netmarble for some reason may think they're not getting enough money, I doubt it, they just want more money. Okay, then these guys are like, nah, you're not going to do this to us, we're going to boycott. But are they really going to boycott? Okay, this CTP premium card system that they got coming out, are they really going to boycott it? All right. Then now they're talking about because the server, the APK that they released in the beta form has been scrapped or at least been shut down. They're hoping that Netmarble is going to change this. Netmarble's not giving anybody any information right now. You never know what they're going to do. They may just modify it to a point where it actually is going to give people more, because the system seems the system itself seems very, what do you want to call that? It's like a succubus. It's just meant to, what I've noticed over the past few years with Netmarble and Future Fight is, when people start not harboring, when they people start hoarding materials and things of that nature, when people start hoarding these materials and these gears, this, that, and the other, they stop buying stuff. They stop spending money because they've spent enough of the money to just load up their inventory. So what Netmarble does is they find ways to get you to use your inventory to lower, to dilute, to not dilute, to basically cut your inventory down to half, get you to, expel the stuff that you have in there, to use that stuff in your inventory. Because now, once your inventory is low and they got new characters to come out with, new game modes to come out with, new gear and character and stat building things to come out with, now you have to replenish your inventory. And the whales don't like replenishing their inventory if they see it's going to cost them tons more money. But this is a system that the whales helped to create, because the whales didn't keep their pockets to the point where they just pay for this, that, and the other. What happened was, when Netmarble throws out the bait, the whales see what they get. They go through, okay, how much is this costing me? How much is this? Is this worth it? This, that, and the other, da, da, da. And they're like, okay, yeah, I could do that. I'll put some money into that. That runs for a while, and then Netmarble decides, let's try something else. Okay, they got all these little smaller packages that, when I look at these things, I'm like, this makes no sense to even go ahead and mess with this. But there's unsuspecting players who come in and say, this looks like a good deal, I'm going to purchase it. Okay, but they got that idea of just testing the waters and figuring out what they can do, because the guys who have the most money at the top, that are spending the most money, they'll buy the little things too. I don't really need this much today. I'm just going to spend on this package today. I'm not going to spend on the $73 anniversary package, or the $99 package. I'm not going to, or the one package with Thor on the front that keeps coming up. They always show that. I'm not going to keep spending on that. I got enough of this material, whatever, da da da. But then somebody says to themselves, who comes in and like, listen, I know I can afford this, but I just can't afford this right now. I'm going to save my money because I know that this thing keeps popping up every time I start the game up. So I'm not going to worry about it now. I'll wait until, save some money, and down the line, when that ad pops up, I'll just go ahead and, take care of that ad, take care of that, buying that thing. So down the line, people make plans. I do it. I make plans for certain packages, but now I get to the point where the only packages that I want to make plans for are the subscription packages, so I can acquire characters, okay, and the like the Starks package or things like that, because I'm not gonna just dump my money into there. Given the fact is, once you start dumping money into Netmarble, I know they have a VIP system and it gives you back. That's all good and well. That's fine. But once you start dumping money into their system on a regular basis, okay, if you are not getting stuff out of that you should be getting, and you're not being able to compete, one, you probably don't know what you're doing about your character building and stuff like that. Two, you don't have a good support system with your alliance and stuff. Three, you may not even put as much time in the game as necessary. Netmarble knows this stuff, man. They are farther ahead in the money game when it comes to their game, from this game, because they don't do it with just Future Fight. They got plenty of other games that they do this with too. Future Fight is just one of the better IP games that they have, licensed IP games that they have, right? Because it's a Marvel game, and you got a ton of Marvel diehards, and a ton of competitive people in there. But look at all the other stuff. They'll be the first ones to bring out something where they can get some money for it, but they won't be the first ones to go and fix certain issues and stuff like that right away. It takes them a long ass time. Character reworks, reward reworks, and things like that. Look how long it took for them to actually to fix conquest rewards. How long was conquest in a beta form for? Like 3 or 4 years. It was like nearly 4 years. Conquest was in a beta, and it took them nearly as much time for them to actually upgrade the reward system. And the reward system now is only upgraded if you're actually participating, which honestly, that's actually pretty good. I think that's a good thing because if you got players who don't participate, then why are they getting rewards, right? Sometimes in certain alliances, you have people that come in, they're new. The alliance, people in the alliance, they want to carry these people. They want to be able to carry the players to help build them up fast, things like that. But then, sometimes, I guess enough people complain today there were too many players not actually competing in there, right? ABX. Look what the upgrades that they did to ABX. Look how long it took for them to give people upgrades. I mean, to give people rewards past of a certain amount of points, right? Now you get now you get rewards for going past 1 million points, 1.5 million, and things like that. Da, 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 da. The point that I'm trying to say when it comes to that is it took them a long time to do that. How long have people been complaining about character reworks or fixes and changes in certain game modes? Look what they bring us. They bring us the danger room, which honestly I could care less about that damn mode. Okay, because rewards aren't even worth it. You know what I mean? A lot of the X-Men characters and mutant characters that you get rewards from, they're locked behind paywalls. Then they bring in this thing where you have to purchase with a certain amount of crystals every time they come out with a new package of mutants. Oh, pay this amount of crystals to get this within 60 days. Da da da. And there's special training that way you can get this character before everyone else, and they'll never bring the character out for other people to get again. Or you got to just pay straight crystals for that character, and you don't get the extras. All right, look what they've done with the characters. Remember when they first brought out the package for the uniform package for Black Panther from when the movie dropped, when the first movie dropped. That uniform package was dope. It was actually really good. It was a good solid deal. You get a CTP out of it. You got yourself a premium card out of it. You got all this other stuff. Plus you got you know, gold. You got a crystal kickbacks, just like you would do if you bought like any extra in the Epic Quest, right? But if you noticed, as the Epic Quests got more, they started coming out more of them. They started finding ways to drain people's pockets with the Epic Quests, not pockets, their inventory. Okay, Epic Quests are just ways for you to basically bleed out your inventory. That's all they are. If you look at the way a lot of the Epic Quests are set up, it's just meant to bleed out your inventory. That's it. To be quite honest, that's it. Here's what I think we should do if you're gonna actually boycott Netmarble, put the screws to them. Let them know that you're not going to be there for any predatory practices. Put this shit in the reviews. Everything you find wrong with any of the packages, put them in the reviews. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the whales on board for everything, but there's probably going to be a lot more free to play or F2P character players than there are going to be, guys who are pay to win and spin, 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 right? It's going to be more of those people who are grinding out, right? And then you got people like me who, look, I put money into the game when I can. Okay, it's not the end. I'm not against spending money on the game. I'm not against putting money into the game, but it's the amount of money that I have to put in. There's a lot more players like me than there are of freaking whales that are spending hundreds, thousands of dollars in the game. And you're gonna have games like that all over the place. But the economy of the game rests on shoulders of like ours. Okay. The actual predatory practices and the money practices and the let's see what we can get out of this system and let's bleed these people's inventory dry practices, that starts with the whales and it makes it way down to us, to the players underneath of them. Put the screws to these guys, man. Uninstall the game, give them a bad rating, and every so often check back on the game. We should be doing that in mass. If there's going to be a boycott, an actual real boycott, it should be done over months of time. It's not going to crash their game. Okay, Marvel's going to look at it like, well, what's going on? Marvel's going to sit back because now you're making their IP look bad. So Marvel's going to sit back and say, well, what's going on? Just like they said when the loot boxes came out. We've heard your complaints. We're working on this situation right now. Marvel had to get involved because now you're screwing with their IP. Put the screws to Netmarble, man. You know what I mean? If you're gonna boycott the game, boycott it the right way. Just sending negative reviews and ratings and stuff like that and complaining and stuff like that, that's all good and well. It's not a boycott. Boycott, shut your whole wallet down. Shut your whole gameplay down. Find something else to play. Okay? Get off the game. Stay out of the address your concerns in the communities and forums on their stuff, and then just stay away. Okay? They're going to do whatever they can to get you guys to come back. They're going to get rid of all the predatory packages and things like that in the game. They're going to rework the characters. They're going to do all this stuff. They're going to redo whatever they're going to do because they don't want to lose the Marvel IP. It helps them make too much money. That'll screw them up for Future Revolution too, and then make them think before they put that Future Revolution game out and saying, hey, you know, this worked with these people, this, that, and the other, they're going to actually start listening to you people. Because to me, in my mind, they don't really listen to you. They hear you, and sometimes they do what they got to do, but they don't really listen to you. They don't really listen. Why? Because you're not actually boycotting. You're not actually doing this. What you're doing is you're complaining, okay? You're lowering the amount of spending. No, a boycott is no spending. A boycott is no playing, no hitting up the server, uninstalling the game. They see those numbers. The low ratings are part of your complaints, but what follows that is the actual boycott. You're not doing boycotts. You're just talking all kinds of stuff. Now, if the whales do the boycott, okay, because there's a lot of whale teams and this, that, and the other. If they actually stop playing the game and they, you know, their alliances stop playing the game, because if you think every whale alliance has 40 characters, if there is 100 whale alliances out there, all full with 40 characters apiece, that's 4,000 that's 4,000 players right there. Right? That's 4,000 players right there. And if they're spending, if 4,000 players are spending $1,000 a month on this stuff, okay, that's 400. That's what? That's $4 million right there, isn't it? 4,000 times 1,000. Yeah, that's $4 million right there. So yeah, if they do an actual boycott and not just lower their spending, they'll Netmarble will listen to them, but they're only going to fix the system for them. They're not going to fix the system for the rest of us. Okay? They're not going to fix the system for the rest of us. They're just going to fix it for the whales. People are sitting back saying, oh, well, what if it affects the whales, it affects us? How so? If you don't have the money to do this, how is it going to affect you? Because now it takes you out of the realm of competition with them. Dude, what don't you fucking get? You were never in the realm of competition with these guys. Period. You're free to play. You don't put money into the game, into the system. You were never in competition with them. You get a little taste because you can grind out your Jean Greys and your Captain Marvels and things like that. You can grind out, crystals for epic quest packages. You can grind out these epic quest characters like Deadpool and all this stuff. You can grind those guys out, but that doesn't mean you are actually going to compete with these guys. It doesn't mean you're actually going to compete with these whales. You are not in competition with them. Stop thinking that you are. Stop thinking that this is going to affect you, because it's not. It never has. It never will. Those guys have already been on a level past you guys. Okay, those guys have already been on a level past you. What you get is a taste of what it would be like in their shoes. But where you can get as a free to play player, they've already been. You don't see all kinds of whales in these groups and forums. Some of them are. They'll voice their concerns when it's necessary. But those guys they probably have their own communities where they go to and all they do is talk about spending money and how much the packages cost. When you get to that elite status, when you got the money to get to that point, you do not spend your time in the community of players who do not put money in the game. Okay? To kind of flip this on another note, to kind of flip this on another thing on its head, in the Instagram community, the people who were getting money from shout outs and things like that, they created a whole community behind that. You had regular people who were trying to get themselves up there and get Instagram famous or get known. You had people who were trying to market products and services out there and they were trying to get known. How could they compete? Then you had all these people who were out there, a lot of them are Insta thoughts, got millions upon millions of followers. These women and some of these guys out there, celebrities and things like that. These people make money on the back end because people come to them and say, hey, look, I want you to give me a shout out for my product and stuff like that. Da-da-da. What do I got to do? How much you trying to pay? Did you know that these people who are they're making money off of just any old person who wants to get their name out there, they have communities where they talk about how they can get people to pay this money to them and how they can make these different practices and stuff like that work for them so that they can benefit from their followers and their people on Facebook. There are people out there that know about the luxury market on Facebook, how you can use, not Facebook, Instagram, how you can use stuff like luxury items and products to kind of boost yourself. Yo, it's a whole world out there, guys. If you don't have the money, you don't have the influence or the followers, you are not in that league. Stop thinking that you are. Stop acting like you're gonna claw your way to the top. It's not going to happen. They are leagues, light years ahead of you guys. The only way you're going to get to them is if you figure out what they did to get to where they are and you emulate that. And if it's about money, then you cannot complain about not having money because you don't want to spend and stop. And all these free to play players who be bragging and boasting about what they have because they just grinded all this stuff. Stop, dog. You're not doing it, bruh. You're sitting back you're chasing clout with people who honestly don't give a fuck. The whales are looking at you like, yeah, whatever, dog. Come on, guys. You guys aren't on these people's level. This is affecting them. This next update will affect them. It don't affect you guys. No matter what you think or how you feel it's going to affect you, it's not going to affect you. If you're talking about, well, with stats and you can't compete because you don't have the stats and this, that, and the other, you'll never be able to get a number one a person with a bruh, just stop. Just stop. Because the whales aren't going to sit back and make a character in their roster, number one, that ain't going to that don't have the DPS for it, that ain't going to get them no wins or get them points in ABX or wins in timeline battle, or that can one shot a level 99 character, world boss ultimate character. Come on, they're not worried about those guys. Those are the guys you can get number ones in with no problem. Those are the guys you can get in the top 1 to 100 with no problem because they ain't worried about those characters. You know what I mean? They let you little guys take that stuff. All right. Look, man, this is Grim 560, Mr. 560, 560 Gaming TV. You guys don't know how to do a real boycott. So if you're going to do one, do it the way it says here, man. Shut down the game, turn it off, find something else to play, stop putting your money into it, make your complaints, address your concerns, and tell them, look, until you guys start fixing all the issues in this game, in this old ass game, which is honestly antiquated. The engine is old, okay? Until you start addressing the concerns that we've been talking about for years, I'm not coming back to this game. I don't even load up Future Revolution because I don't trust you'll do what you're supposed to do. That's the kind of stuff you do in a boycott. That's how you make a boycott work. It's not all this just complaining about it and saying, hooray, they're good. They're turn down this thing and they might scrap the system. This, that, and the other. We might be good. Da, da, da. You ain't fixed no problems. You just stopped one issue from happening. That's it. Y'all take it easy, man. Peace.